Hey everyone, Craig and Gil from Custom TV and Stereo here. Just wanted to reach out and talk to all of our people out there and talk a little bit about the COVID-19 virus and how it has affected us and affected the community and so on. So first thing we want to talk about is the fact that we are still open. In accordance with the governor's mandate, there are 16 categories that are considered to be essential services. And we fall into a couple of those, namely for media, television services, and also for IT services as well. So to let you know, we are still open. We are still providing all the services that we've always had. And you can reach us here at the store at 529-6231. We've also set up a Skype channel as well, and we will have that information in the video if you care to schedule a Skype session so we can still communicate with you and be able to see into your home without actually sending people into your home.
Yes, very good. And all these people that are now home, the children that have to stay home, as well as people working from home, the need for TV screens and access to the information therein is very important. So what we do is keeping those people connected as well. And that's also placing that increased demand on everybody's systems at home.
Yep. In fact, the categories that we are addressing in terms of the essential categories, the first one, the most obvious one, I guess, would be the telecommunications category, which includes television broadcasts. Obviously, it's imperative for people to be able to access TV. It's imperative for the broadcast to continue, and consequently, it's imperative for people to have a television to be able to watch those broadcasts on. Not only just for watching the news and watching the updates about the virus and the spread of the virus, but let's be honest with you. For people that are sequestered in their homes for 2 months at a time, you're going to want to have some entertainment as well. So I mean, you probably have read that Netflix's servers are literally crashing because so many people are stuck at home watching Netflix.
That's right. So the demand on the streaming services as well as people's home Wi-Fi systems is very much increased in this time. So that's another factor that where we might come in and be able to help you in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you have a TV and maybe you want to add another TV to the house, perhaps you have an elderly person in the home and you want to maybe kind of keep them isolated into their own room, but there's no TV in that room. Those are some reasons to maybe need our services. And the TV doesn't have to be purchased from us either. If you have a TV that you bought at Costco or something, you just need someone to help you set it up, someone to mount it on the wall, so on and so forth. We are here to help you in that regard.
That's right. And there's certainly many people at home now needing screens, especially for work purposes. So there's a lot of teleconferencing going on now for people that are working at home. And so the additional screens may be needed when a laptop or a phone isn't enough. And we certainly can help people out in that area.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and of course, with people being sequestered at home, a lot of people are working from their home now, so the home office becomes a much more important asset for people. And people may be running dual offices. Perhaps there was a situation where you had maybe one parent working from home, and now you have two parents working from home, and you're placing even more and more demands on your network systems. Plus your kids are now home too, and they need to be able to log in, do their homework, so on and so forth. And when you start to tax your network that heavily, sometimes the hardware that you have now may not be able to handle that amount of traffic flow.
Yeah, that's correct. Your typical Wi-Fi router that maybe you've gotten from your service provider or you bought for yourself that usually handles things well, with all this increased demand, that's going to possibly be an issue as far as speed and connectivity.
Yep. As far as just the amount of data that it takes just to stream a single video channel is enormous, and then you add to that multiple video channels plus people trying to do productivity tasks, you can really start to overload your system. And it could also be a situation too where maybe, and we've run into this a lot, where people's Wi-Fi systems will work in certain parts of the home and not work in other parts of the home. And so it's not inconceivable that now you have two people working from the home. One person wants to be on one side of the house to kind of keep themselves isolated and have a little bit of privacy and quiet to be able to work, and another person wants to be on the other side of the house, but that side of the house, the Wi-Fi doesn't work very well. So we do multiple point Wi-Fi systems that can help increase your Wi-Fi footprint.
Correct. So, for instance, you might have one router it's broadcasting from one spot in your home. That's fine for that bubble of area that it's covering, and as it gets a little further away, you've got that decreased signal strength. You also have a situation where people have been buying systems that use multiple little access points. You might be familiar with something like, what is it?
Google Home,
Yep. And,
Orbi, Eero. Those systems, they do work. So we don't want to, completely, discredit those systems. They work and they're relatively inexpensive, but they do have their limitations. And to demonstrate that, we commissioned our art department with an enormous budget to give you an idea. When you have a system like say Orbi or Google Home, whatever, it becomes a linear system where you have one unit that we'll call number one, and then they kind of leapfrog from one to the next as it goes throughout your house. The problem with that is that when you are trying to exchange information through multiple units, is that it creates delays, it creates lag time, it also creates the potential for having data packet dropouts. So if we were to liken it to a conversation, imagine if you had 4 people, Jack, Kevin, Randall, and Kate, for all you This Is Us fans. Imagine if Jack wanted to talk to Kate and say, hey Kate, what time is dinner? He has to tell Kevin, what time is dinner? Kevin has to tell Randall, what time is dinner? Randall has to ask Kate, what time is dinner? Kate says it's at 6 o'clock. She tells Randall. Randall tells Kevin. Kevin tells Jack. And that's how those systems work. And so you can imagine that's a huge slowdown in comparison to a non-linear system like that, where if Jack wants to talk to Kate, he says, hey Kate, what time's dinner? Kate tells Jack, it's at 6 o'clock. So the systems that we sell have that more direct type of topology where they don't have to leapfrog through each other to exchange data and share that broadband connection. For a lot of people's homes, if you have a home that was built anywhere from about 2000 to 2000, maybe 12 or 15, a lot of those homes were already pre-wired with what was called a structured wiring plan. And the way to tell if you have a home that has that is if you have a bedroom that has, maybe in one of the closets, you have a big metal can in there, and you have a bunch of jacks throughout your house that have what looks like phone jacks or data jacks there. It means you already have almost all of the infrastructure you need to add a Wi-Fi system. We can use that same existing wiring, and where those wall plate jacks are, we can install wireless access points that will create multiple bubbles of Wi-Fi coverage that will A, be a lot more powerful, B, handle a lot more traffic, C, be non-linear so they can directly exchange information. And then one of the really cool things about them is that they also will manage the traffic flow and keep you connected to the closest one. So if you are in one part of the house and you start to move to a different part of the house, it tracks you and keeps you connected to the closest antenna.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a common misconception is that most people think, oh, I've got these little extenders, that just extends my range. I'll put one in this room, now that range is great. I'll put one over here, that range is extended. But that's actually not how, as he just explained, it's not how they actually work. So they may work in some circumstances, but we do install, all these different types of systems to take care of all the different types of needs you may have.
Yeah, and other things that kind of come up with in the terms of networking is that there are a lot of devices on people's networks these days that seemingly you may not even realize that they're on your network and using up your bandwidth. If you have Wi-Fi thermostats, for example, or the big one would be if you have some of the new like Ring or Google Nest security cameras, they are constantly uploading data to the cloud and using up a lot of that bandwidth.
That's right, and Ring is a very popular video system. We do install them, we sell them as well. And in these times where you're getting a lot more deliveries now, it's a good idea to think about having some way to see who's coming to the door.
Yep.
And those systems, as Craig just said, do use a lot more bandwidth. So again, a good reason to make sure your Wi-Fi system is, healthy and robust to handle that. So.
And range too. Some of those devices, the Wi-Fi cards in them are not as good as what you might find in, for example, an iPad that has a much stronger card in it. I can speak to you from experience that at my house, I tried installing a Ring camera at my front gate, and my Wi-Fi wouldn't reach. I had to put a separate access point all the way out in my garage in order for the Ring camera to work, and we do run into that periodically.
Mm-hmm. So again, that's just another aspect of what we do in addition to selling some of this stuff, getting that stuff set up and wired properly in your home. It's not that a lot of our basic Wi-Fi systems that we get from the service providers don't work. They do. It's just at some point now that we're increasing all this usage, these more robust systems will serve you much better. They aren't that terribly expensive as well. So, and this is something once you do it, now you have this system that will work for years to come. So it's not just for now.
Yep. So anyways, that's all we have for you. We hope that everyone out there is doing well. We are still here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday from 10 to 6, Saturdays from 11 to 5. Call us 529-6231. You can also look us up on the web, custom-tv.com. Like I said, remember, we also now do Skype sessions too. So if you have something you want to have us look at, we can do that in a virtual manner as well these days.
Yes, and take care and stay safe.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.